Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yay!
Yay.
I switched to go into a different room today because it's kind of loud. Some e-learning happening.
That's okay.
How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I've had an
Good.
interesting morning, so we can talk about that later.
All right, cool. All right. How's
Good morning,
everybody
April.
doing? Hi,
Good
guys.
morning.
All right, is it
Okay.
9 o'clock, honey? I don't even know. Let me look.
Yep.
Yep, it's 9:01, guys. We're going to go ahead and get started. Just going to introduce myself for those of you guys that are new to the Flip and Shift. My name is Julie Walls, and above me is Tiffany Spencer. And we're glad you guys can join us this morning. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just do a little bit of a recap from last week. For those of you guys that have followed us in the past, we have all of our information, including videos about the flipping process, because as you guys know, we're getting close to the end of our flipping process, all right? And we're going to be eventually starting our shifting, the shifting portion of this. And that's coming up real soon. So last week we talked about the importance, well, 2 weeks ago, we talked about the importance of visualizations and law of attraction. They kind of marry each other. And we gave you guys information on how to put together your visualization. All right, so if you go back just a couple weeks ago, you can watch that video on our YouTube page as well as our Facebook page, and then get caught up on visualizations. Last week we talked about applications. So Tiffany is a script person. I'm an audio person. I think Tiffany's a mixture of both.
Kind of do mix,
yeah. Okay. So last week we talked about application, how to take your visualization script or your information that you put together based on the bubble mapping, and then how are you going to now put it in play or in application. So we talked about scripts and we talked about audio work. And we provided you guys a lot of examples this week on our Facebook and our Instagram page. So go there. We also gave you just kind of like, if you're an audio person, there's a little thing that you can download, an app you can download to upload your higher level thinking, your belief statements. I am calm. I am, powerful. I am strong. So there's an app on there that we provided for you guys. So that's a little bit about what we talked about last week. So again, if you need to review that, go to our YouTube page, go to our Facebook page. And again, it's all under the Flip and Shift. And I want to add a few more things to you guys, because we want to make sure that we're a social media presence. So we've added, so obviously we're on Facebook. We have a Facebook page and we have a Facebook group. We also have, of course, Instagram, and we do our lives on Instagram, and then you guys get to access them for about 24 hours here. And then we also download this video to watch, right, on our YouTube channels, our Facebook page, our Facebook group. And I'm thinking, am I missing one? I'm sorry? YouTube, really important. All right, our YouTube channel. We've also added, because we are kind of diving into the business component to this, and there are business leaders that are interested in our process. So now we're on LinkedIn, guys. We're on LinkedIn, so you can connect with us as far as business to business connection. We also have a Twitter page, which we're not really utilizing that much right now, but eventually down the road, maybe we will. So we have more social media presence out there, and we just want to let you guys know we're on multiple platforms. All right, so we've hit the recap from last week. We've given you guys all of our social media information. And again, it's under the Flip In, just in, either apostrophe or just an in, and shift. It's up in our upper left-hand corner of our IG page. All right, so we talked about the recap. Now this week, we're going to do a little bit of review, guys, because we have some really awesome journaling workshops coming up. So we have our first awareness workshop that includes the journaling piece to this, and how to chart your journal, and how to kind of break it all down and get down to the nitty gritty rooted limiting belief statements and our rooted traumas. Okay, so we're trying to make those connections. So I think it'd be good for us to kind of do a rehash of all of the information that we've given you over the last several weeks. Now, we're not going to go into great detail today, because honestly, we have some fantastic videos that you guys can look at that have really good stuff. I mean, like the meats and bones of how to get into this work, how to do the journaling. We're just kind of giving you guys an overview of what to kind of go through and look for, and then what to expect for the workshop. Our first workshop is just getting you into the awareness state, getting you into writing your thought, your thinking down, and then kind of diving into it, looking through your words and your sentences and trying to find those limiting belief statements, emotions that are connected to it, and any themes. I mean, sometimes I would find lots of themes, like I'd say the same thing over again, or write the same thing down again, have the same way of thinking, or, you know, and then I also noticed that that's kind of things that I've been doing for a very long time, connected to something way back in the past. So this journaling / awareness workshop is going to be really helpful for many of you guys. And thank you so much for being so prompt and responsive to when we posted that, because we filled up so freaking fast, Tiff, didn't we? I mean,
Yeah, we literally had all 20 spots done in less than 24 hours. And we have probably, actually, I've gotten more messages. So we probably have at least another 8 to 10 on the waiting list.
Wow,
so,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
so you
we
guys
have a huge waiting list.
I know some of you guys have missed this first opportunity. There will be more opportunities. We are trying to do this in a very methodic way. We want to make it right. We want to make it worth your time. So this first journaling workshop is going to give us a lot of information on, you know, what to do next. And again, this journaling workshop is just the first step. There will be more, because we have to take it to the next step, like we've been teaching you guys throughout this whole process, the flipping process. So, you know, I'm going to hand it over to Tiff to kind of she's really, really good, you guys, about breaking it down, how to look at your journal, kind of how to, you know, get down to the nitty gritty stuff. And then I want to do that first, and I want to kind of get into that information. And then we also want to tell you guys something really exciting that we have coming up. We'll talk about the recap, you know, the rehashing of the flipping process and our first journaling workshop and kind of what to expect. But then we also have some exciting news. So coming up very soon, we have the really exciting, fortunate opportunity that was thrown at us to collaborate with a really amazing guy that's got a really awesome podcast that he's put out there. And I really strongly encourage you guys to listen to it. It's humorous, it's relatable, it's just, I mean, I just was enthralled. I was like listening to it and going, wow, this is pretty cool stuff. So he's coming on our live, and we've talked about having live experts on in the past. So he's going to be coming on our live, and we'll tell you who he is and what he's about and what he's going to be talking about. And you guys will also hear about it, because we're going to be reminding you guys constantly that he's coming on, because we are so freaking excited about it.
I know. I am.
I'm so excited. And then you guys, the flipping work is the thinking piece. You know how everybody talks about mind-body connection, right? We do the thinking behavior connection. Some people do not recognize. So as we're changing our thinking and we're trying to, you know, get in line with our intentions or our law of attraction or what we see or our goals, sometimes our behaviors are not in line with that. So we're going to start the shifting work, which is the second piece to this, very, very, very soon. So we're going to do some awareness around that, recognizing daily behavior, similar with recognizing daily thinking, okay? So we're going to start that piece very soon, probably around the 17th, okay? We're kind of shooting for that target date. So again, the 17th is on a Friday. It's a 9 a.m. live, and we will start the shifting work then, all right? Because we have some experts coming on, and luckily we have about 2 weeks worth of experts starting off here. So, and then we have many more that are kind of trying to figure out their schedules, and will also be on our live coming up here soon. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to Tiff, and we can start the process of recapping of what all we've learned over the last, I don't know, however many weeks we've been doing this.
It's been a long
time.
So, yeah, so a couple things I want to piggyback off of. So the workshop coming up, that is April 5th and 6th. So those that did get signed up, I want to remind you, April 5th and 6th. So it just depends on which day you signed up for. Both workshops are the same. So they're not different. You don't have to sign up for both. I did go through and kind of asked a couple people who signed up for both. They misunderstood, which is fine, not a big deal. We just removed them and opened a spot. So April 5th and 6th, it is the same workshop. So you're not missing anything. But about a week out, we do have worksheets. So it's not going to just be you show up. So there is going to be ownership. There is going to be an awareness phase that you're going to have to kind of get yourself into. We will require 3 days of journaling beforehand. So that will all be detailed in the emails that you'll get. So just be looking for that communication from us. And that will directly come from me, just because that's the way I had to set up with the webinar stuff or the workshop stuff. So again, that's April 5th and 6th. So when we look at recapping, one of the first episodes that we did, that you go back to YouTube, is we talk about the whole HPA access. I think that's important to kind of start at that base, because that really gets us into kind of the journaling phase of things. Okay, so again, the HPA access is that hypothalamus, that the pituitary, and the adrenals. And we talk about how that negative feedback loop works. And when we are kind of in that acute stressor situation, again, it slows itself down at the end and kind of resets itself. But when we become in that chronic constant state, it kind of goes down, decides I can't reset myself because there's too many stressors, and goes right back up and starts again. So what we're really trying to do is get you aware that we want to stop everything up here before it hits the adrenals. Because once we hit those adrenals, that's when the body changes occur. Okay, so we always talk about the mind-body connection. So again, mind, hypothalamus, pituitary also contains the amygdala and everything else in it. And then all those chemical messengers get sent down to the adrenals, and that's when you start having the physical reactions. That's where the body connection comes in. And so we are really, really trying hard to stop it before it gets to that point. Well, when you become into that conditioned chronic stress response, you can't get out of that as easy. And so this is where the journaling comes in. So we talk about the health piece, and I think that's really, really important in the very beginning, because that is a lot of symptomology that we get to: the headaches, the dizziness, the anxiety, the panic attacks, the fatigue, blood sugar drops, weight changes. There's all kinds of things, and it also affects the thyroid. So that also affects your sex hormones, affects everything. So we talk about that extensively in that very first video that we did. The second component we talk about is the journaling. And this is really, really important, because we really want to get your thoughts down. So we want to take 3 days. You can take more than 3 days, whatever you want to do, but a minimum of 3. Because a good 3 days will give you an idea of what your patterns are, what those negative thoughts are. And so as you're journaling, you can pick a day just to write negative thoughts down. Or you can pick triggers, like specific triggers, like somebody triggered you, or you saw something. And right now we're getting bombarded with a ton of triggers, right? So 3 days of journaling should be easy for a lot of people right now. So writing down those triggers, and then basically you are just puking, as you will, on paper. You are letting everything out. And you just flow with it. It doesn't have to be, oh, I have to think about this. No, just let the thoughts just randomly come, write them down. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. You're just allowing your subconscious to release everything. Right. And so when you do that, we can start to then assimilate patterns. We start looking for negative emotions. What emotions do you have in there? Because when you start looking at limiting beliefs and then you start looking at negative emotions, that's where you have that memory creation. Okay, so that's where we're really trying to focus. Is you can't have a past event, or an emotion without a past event. You can't just all of a sudden feel happy and know what happy means. Right. You have to have something that connected to it. And the same thing for being scared and being fearful. Those emotions occur with a prior memory. So you can't just feel that out of nowhere. It's something that you've had to learn and pick up before. So that's what we're trying to get to, is those root core memories of where your limiting beliefs are, where others' beliefs are, and emotions. And all of those link back to a previous memory. And that we're trying to get the earliest as possible. So usually that stems from childhood. Again, those are going to be like your caretakers: mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad, maybe a babysitter, maybe a pastor, or something like that. Somebody who's had a significant presence in your life from a very young age. And that's usually where it's tied to. At least we try to get to that point. Now, you may have a stressor that had just happened. Well, that's going to be the most emotionally charged one, right, which is going to be very fresh and very real. But we can still go back, because your incident just didn't happen right there. And I think that was the hardest thing for you and I, Julie, and a lot of our viewers too, to realize is that that stressor didn't just happen there. That was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, but it happened way before
Yeah,
that.
it was birthed like long time ago, you know.
Yeah,
way back.
and it just kind of snowballed. And so we talk about that, and we have like emotion wheels. We posted online. We also talk how to find your limiting beliefs. What do those statements, those statements start with? I can't, I shouldn't, I won't, I don't believe, I am not type statements. And you can go through your journal and pick those out.
And they think I'm awful, or they think I'm dumb. I mean,
yeah, those are other belief statements. Yeah, so anything kind of global, they think. Any they type statements are going to be your other belief statements. They think I'm awful. They think I can't handle this. Those are going to be your others beliefs. But again, everything that happens, everything that you perceive, everything you think is you.
Is me. Yeah, exactly.
And that is
I might think it's me. It's me.
It's usually. And so remember, I can't pick Julie up and put her inside my head. And she can't do the same with me. So again, it's my perception of what's going on. And I think that is one of the hardest things to get your head around is Julie did this to me. Well, no, Julie didn't. I am doing this to me because I have a previous reaction or stressor that is addressed to that. Yes. And so you have to address that. Now, there are significant traumas where there are abuse things that happen. We need to make peace with that. We're not saying that those episodes did not happen. It's just we need to change the rhetoric around that so you no longer have a Rolodex going every time something triggers you. Because what is a trigger? A trigger is the original event coming back in a different dress or a different pair of shoes. It is that original trigger. And so we have to change that, and we have to get that card taken out of that Rolodex. It's kind of like a computer virus, right? So we are in that process of kind of just uploading new software and taking out the bad stuff.
You're basically brain hacking.
Yeah, and so that's in a sense that's what we're doing. But the journaling piece is one of the most key pieces to take ownership of your health, and I cannot stress that enough.
We basically call it the talk therapy. That's what it is. I mean, you're
basically
really feel like you're going to a therapist, but your therapist is your piece of paper.
Right.
So.
And we've talked about that. I think this is where journaling and therapy run parallel if you go see a therapist. And that's where it runs parallel, but that's where it stops. Because when you see a therapist, unfortunately, you're not going past that. And they are not changing memories. They are not changing those things. Now, you can do that in EMDR therapy. But as a traditional therapist, it's usually just talk therapy. My thought on that is you are just strengthening the neural pathways for the negative behavior. That's just my own personal opinion on it. Yeah. And I found much greater relief and more control and higher level thinking with this work than I ever doing talk therapy. Is talk therapy bad? Not necessarily, but you have to have an action behind it. And I think that's the problem is we have talked about before journaling workshops, that didn't get you to the next phase. Or we've seen the journaling means you need to journal. Okay, well now I've goofed all this stuff up and I have journals full of stuff, but what do I do with it?
Right, and then you get triggered again and you write the same stinking entry all over again.
Right, so you're not addressing that original trigger. Again, it's a memory, a childhood memory or a memory from the past that keeps bothering you. That's what it is. So-and-so triggered me. Okay, well, why did they trigger you? Well, it was their voice. Okay, well, what is their voice? What's wrong with their voice? It's high-pitched. Okay, what does that remind you of? That reminds me of my stepmother yelling at me when I was 5. I hated it. Okay, there's the trigger. Okay, it's just showing up in a different person. It's not the person you hate. It's the trigger that you hate.
Right.
And so those are the things that we're trying to address because we want to get to a negative neutral on this. We want to make sure that these things don't, we want to stop the stress response before it happens.
Right.
And in order to do that, we've got to do the nitty gritty work. So journaling is the big one. That's going to be the biggest one. We really encourage you to look for memories when you pull those things out. Again, if you see negative emotions, if you see those limiting beliefs, again, we put up, excuse my language, a shit time of examples, not only of journaling, but how to break it out, how to chart it out. We put up a shit ton of examples. And there's no reason why you can't do that. Again, it's very simple. If you are blocked and you can't journal, audio record it.
Yeah.
And then go back and listen to it and write it down. There's
Right.
so many different options that you have. So if you don't want to journal it out, audio record it out. So that
I mean, I used to walk in my neighborhood and just talk in my voice memo on my iPhone, and then replay it and listen to it and be like, oh God, yeah, okay. And then I'd ad lib, because I would be like, things would start coming up. Oh yeah, that reminds me of when I got yelled at in fourth grade, you know, or whatever. Audio recording for me, again, I'm an audio person. That really helps me to kind of even brainstorm even further. If you're on the struggle bus of writing.
Yeah, and I think again, this is an awareness phase that is critical. And again, I think it comes down to ownership. You need to take ownership of the emotions and the beliefs that you have, because these are yours, they're not anybody else's.
Right.
You know, just because you say they think I can't do this, again, that's your perception that people think you can't do something.
Right.
And that is your limiting belief, not theirs.
I mean, and honestly, like, I look at this as, you know, let's say your partner pisses you off, excuse my language, but if your partner pisses you off and you're blaming him for all of your feelings, this is an opportunity for you to write it all out and start looking at it. Is it really him, or is it my reaction to him? Is it my beliefs surrounding him, and where is this connected to my past? That's kind of what it is. We don't want to be victims. We don't want to, I say it, I'm like, don't allow. Well, you're actually allowing it. Don't allow someone to make you, you know, for you to be pissed off about, or whatever. If he's your trigger or she's your trigger, you have to start taking some ownership of your own feelings and start figuring it out and sorting through it and seeing where it's connected to.
Yeah, and this is the lower level thinking, and we did that a separate video kind of later on, I guess more recently for us, but you know, it kind of could have been towards the beginning too, but you know, it's the lower level, higher level thinking. Lower level, you know, is everybody's doing everything to me. I am being just bombarded with stuff. Julie's doing something to me. My husband's doing something to me.
The doctor.
Yeah, the doctor. That again. Yeah, the world is doing something to me.
Coronavirus, it's all doing it to me.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is a hard thing to look past, is taking that ownership and that responsibility. It is one of the hardest things to do, because I wanted to blame everybody else but myself. And
I put a quote. There was a quote I put on the Flip and Shit today because I think it was really powerful. Changing the thinking is way more difficult than changing your behavior. You're doing the hardest work right now. The upfront thinking piece is very difficult. Once you start changing that thinking and shifting your thinking, and you start working on the behavioral component, it'll be much easier. I promise you, because you're going to do it in a very tight, like what we've done in this front end is very slow and methodical, and 1 week at a time, and really explain the process for you to break it down and really take some ownership of it. Once you start shifting your thinking and you start recognizing behaviors throughout your entire day, those little changes that you can make in behavior will start to align with your thinking. And it's going to be, you're going to see some tremendous shifts in your everyday, and even in relationships, and just overall in general, your attitude towards life. Yes, sorry. Changing the thinking is very, very difficult.
It is. And I think, again, that comes down to ownership. You have to take ownership of that. And it's not a pill that's going to save you. It's not a doctor that's going to save you. It's you saving you. If there's additional things left over, then yeah, by all means, go see a physician and get that taken care of. We're not seeing this is a substitute for medical care by any means. But you have to be able to heal that mindset. And that's going to change any treatment plan you're on, any medications that you take. A lot of those things may change. They may or may not. You know, some people require vitamin D for a little while. Some people require, you know, vitamin C for a little while, you know, but it's not long term. It's just to get your body regulated again. So, you know, we definitely want to make sure that we stress that, is that we're not saying this is a substitute for medical care by any means, but this is work that you can do congruent with that. And heal your mind and body at the same time. So as you're under, you know, physician care. And these are easy things. Yes. Is it hard to kind of get in alignment with it sometimes? Absolutely. But you know what? It can be done. And we're taking you step by step. It's not, we're taking one bite of that elephant at a time and just kind of walking you through that process. So it's not so overwhelming.
And we're not going to leave you hanging. So when you start changing, and Tiffany and I both have experienced this as we changed our thinking and did the flipping work, you are going to have some discomfort. I'm going to be honest with you. You feel you're shifting that rooted core belief system and that thinking process. And you are going to have some little uncomfortable shifting changes. And so we're going to provide you with, and again, we have in the past provided you with a plenty of diffracting. So when you feel miserable or whatever, you have to distract yourself, right? When your brain's throwing a temper tantrum, we have to distract you, give you some tools to be able to not fixate on those changes. So we're also going to provide you with some, I'm sorry?
Give the baby the pacifier.
Give the baby the pacifier or the little blankie. So no, we're going to provide you with stuff to help you through that shift, those shifting of your thinking process. And again, those are the diffracting tools that we gave you several weeks ago. And you can go back on our Instagram page, our Facebook page, and even our YouTube channel and learn more about the types of diffracting tools that Tiffany and I both use through this process. So, sorry.
That's okay. And then I guess the next, I know, right? It's a lot to review. And so that's kind of the journaling piece. Okay. And then we took you from the journaling piece to the bubbling piece. Okay. So we did the bubble map, and the bubble map is huge. I've gotten a lot of good feedback with the bubble map, and, you know, a lot of people have said it's really helped them kind of start to web things out. So this is where you kind of get super sleuth even more. And so the bubble mapping is you're taking your initial trigger, okay, whatever it may be, and you can actually bubble it out to the five senses. What did you hear? What did you see? What did you taste? What did you smell? You're kind of, you know, bubble mapping that out. And we want to hit all five emotions or five senses, because that is every aspect of the brain, right? And so we want to make sure that we cover all of those bases, because each one of those senses is different memories. Okay, so if we only focus on one, we're only going to heal one aspect of it, and we want to heal all aspects of it. I use the example of you know, going to a family outing. Yeah, there we go. So I think that was the car accident one, wasn't it?
Sorry.
Okay. So we had a car accident one. Okay, and so we bubble mapped that out. What did you hear? What did you taste? What did you smell? And you can kind of see that we wrote the emotions down after that. So when I tasted, you know, I don't think I had taste in there. What did I have?
You're screaming. You heard screaming from the car accident, and you were scared, confused, and alone. And then I'm sorry, but then you linked it to when I was 5, I got lost in a store. That's really powerful. That's a really good one.
Yeah. So what you're doing is you're taking it and breaking it down. So you're taking that sense that you have, okay, whether that's, you know, hearing, okay, that one was hearing. You heard people screaming. Well, what did you feel about that? Well, I was scared. I was alone. I didn't know how to handle it. Okay. So now I have the emotions. Remember what creates a memory? Emotions and limiting beliefs. Okay. So we're just even getting to the emotion part. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we kind of feather it down a little bit further. When was the first time you felt alone and scared?
Yes.
Okay. And then we mapped that out. I was 5 years old in a store and I got lost. Okay. That was probably traumatic for a 5-year-old, right?
Yeah.
So then when you take that information and you present it to a practitioner, then you can filter out the limiting beliefs in addition to that. You may already have some of those. You can map that out on your own.
Yeah.
But once you have that basis for that memory, so we can change it, okay? Because those limiting beliefs are who you are right now. Right. You still feel alone and scared when something happens, when that trigger happens. Maybe you're just driving along and all of a sudden the car stops and you get triggered. You're like,
yeah,
you know, that trigger, again, that trigger is there from that previous accident. So we need to deal with that. And so that's really what we're doing. And you start to find all of these webs. So something that started here may end up way over here and it may have nothing to do with it.
Right.
How did I align a car accident with being lost in a store at 5 years old? it's because of those emotions that continue to come up.
Right.
And they attach to other things, and they just kind of keep webbing. So the bubble mapping is huge, because that's where you really kind of start to see how many things are connected that you're like, I had no clue.
Yeah, I mean, social
I think
media,
I did one for symptoms, didn't I?
you did, yeah, you have one for social media triggers, car accident, I'm looking back. Playing sports with dad, symptoms. So symptoms were, this was a great one. You got a lot of response on that, which was, the symptom was the stomach ache and the headache. I'm sorry if you can't see it. My ring light's hitting it. The initial trigger. So you would look at what was your initial trigger, and Tiffany wrote playing sports with dad. So this is obviously something for a child, right? Mm-hmm. I'm assuming. Okay. So, playing sports with dad, and next thing you know, the child is getting a stomach ache and getting a headache, and how she broke it out. And again, you guys can see this. It's our February 11th post on Instagram and Facebook. So you can go back and see her style of brain mapping, and she broke it out from there. So you have the symptomology. So you got the trigger up top. Sorry, it's backwards. This is the symptoms that she wrote out. And then here's the emotion. So she wrote stress, not excited, quitter, unworthy, non-focused. She was worried, unsupported. She felt unloved, fearful, and disappointed. So she wrote her emotions out. All right, this is stuff we can do with kids. All right, this is brilliant. And then down here, so she wrote, okay, obviously she probably looked at what she thinks her dad feels about her. So others' beliefs, which is important, you guys, what the world views of us. We talk about that all the time. I can't make my dad happy. He yells because I'm doing it wrong. Disappointed. I disappointed my family. My dad isn't my coach, right? So, I mean, you can hear a typical child saying that. And then she also broke it out with her own limiting beliefs. So she asked herself, okay, the daughter said, I have to keep playing. I can't focus. I'm doing something wrong. I'm disappointing my family, and I'm always getting yelled at. Now, how many times do you hear that with your kids? All the freaking time, right? And then you take it a step further, and Tiffany put down at the bottom, okay, well, what memories can you connect that to? Can you connect anything? Your emotions, others' beliefs, that you feel, that others believe about you, your own limiting beliefs. And the memories that came to her were everyone telling me I'm following in my dad's footsteps. So much pressure to be like him. This is just this could be for any child. I mean, really.
Any kid playing sports right now.
I'm sorry, what?
Any child playing sports, honestly.
Any child playing sports. Yeah. So this is the way that we brain map, or we call it brain mapping, because all of this work is hacking into the brain, the software center, right? It's a computer center. So you're hacking into that, and you're wanting to take that. What is it that created an uprise or a response? The response is, all of a sudden I'm getting triggered by playing sports with dad. The symptoms, I'm feeling things. You're going to ask yourself, well, where do I feel it in my body? Am I feeling it in my body? Yes, I'm feeling it in my body. I'm feeling head pressure, all right? Headaches, and the confidence feeling in my stomach. My stomach's turning. All right? So you ask yourself these questions, and then you take it a next step further and start mapping it out with emotions. And like Tiffany talked about, emotions, the charts, limiting beliefs, others' beliefs. What do you think others feel about you? And then anything that you can think of that you can pull from the past. You're digging deep into your programming center, guys, to try to pull any memories that's linked to this particular symptomology or trigger. And these are the kind of things that we've talked about in the past and have gone into great detail about it, and have given you several examples. So you can always go back and refer to that. But this upcoming workshop is essential, because we'll teach you this. We'll do one-on-ones with you guys in the workshop to get you guys to take a deep dive in your own psyche or your own processing center to find these core rooted memories that just didn't come out of nowhere. They were rooted, they were birthed from way back when, right?
Yeah, and I think doing this upfront
we all
work
have 40-some years worth of memories.
No, right? And you have to kind of dig through them. Yeah, eventually we may make a video for kids. I just saw that comment from April. But After talking to several practitioners, the practitioners we've talked to, I think making sure that we do a lot of the upfront work before we go see somebody is going to be huge.
Huge.
Because you are taking, again, it's that ownership that you're taking, but then again, it's maximizing your time with a practitioner, and you're getting a lot of the stuff taken care of in the front. Of course, there's going to be some additional questions when the practitioner gets with you. It's like, how do you know this? Where do you feel this? You know, there's a lot of payoff questions. You know,
Right.
that's another hard one to take, is there is a payoff to this.
Yeah.
You know, a payoff to being sick. Nobody wants to hear that there's a payoff to being sick. Well, yeah, because everybody takes care of me. I used to be the one that took care of everybody else.
Yes.
And so there is a payoff, and that is that language sometimes is hard to hear. It is a very raw, hard truth.
There's a payoff for not working out. I mean, there's a payoff for everything. There's a payoff for not going after the dream job that you want to do, or taking your first step to go after that first interview. There's payoffs to everything. You just, and it's all
connected to a memory. And so those are the things that we're talking about, getting in the awareness space to change those things.
Right.
And I think, you know, we could probably end really quickly on just the happy memories. And then what we're trying to do is kind of recap to get everybody kind of caught up to speed, because we do have, you know, our guest coming on. That's going to take about 2 weeks back to back. So the next phase is the happy memories. I think I kind of wrote them down in order as we had them in our YouTube channel, so everybody can follow along. Happy memories, you can bubble map happy memories as well. And I think we gave several examples of that. You know, you may have a feeling, okay, I feel happy. I know how to feel happy. Okay, well, how do you know you feel happy? You had to have had a memory of that somewhere. Oh, well, I felt happy when my grandmother used to come visit. Okay, let's write that down.
Right.
It doesn't have to be some monumental thing. It's just something that gives you those feel-good chemicals. Again, the endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, all of that stuff coming out. That's what we really, really want. So it doesn't have to be some huge, like I took a vacation to Disney, which is one of mine. It doesn't have to be something huge. It could be just spending time with grandma, because that means a lot to you.
Well, here's an example. I'm sorry, Tiff. I'm just gonna, while you're on that.
No, you're fine.
I was gonna pull up the Disney one, and I can do that next. But this one I thought of going to the lake for the summer, and Tiffany talks about utilizing the 5 senses, right? And then you can also add the 6th sense, which is the feels, the emotions connected to it. And you could bubble that out to the side, all right? So the core happy memory, and how we did it here, is the centerpiece is what is your theme. The core happy memory is going to the lake. It's very simple. All right, so what did you see? What I saw were boaters. I saw beautiful blue skies. I see happy smiles. Add as much detail as you can, you know? I see kids jumping in the water. I mean, take the time and to visualize it. See it, all right? Yeah. And again, we talk about that in visualizations, and that's further down the road. What did you hear? So sound. So again, sound is up here. I hear boat motors. Can you hear a boat motor? Do you hear music playing? Pontoon. That song. Million ways and catching waves upon the roof. Okay, that's what always gets played around here. I can hear that song constantly. Children laughing. Can you imagine just hearing kids jumping off the off of a dock or wherever they're at, laughing and running into the beach, you know? Splashing and birds flying over, you know, flying and tweeting everywhere. Just take the time to listen and hear that. And I won't go into great detail, but smell. Who hasn't gone to a lake or a beach and you can't smell barbecue? I mean, thinking about barbecue right now, my mouth is watering. Like ribs on the grill, or hot dogs or hamburgers with cheese on top of it. Think about that. Make it.
Thanks, Julia. It's almost lunchtime.
I know. Sorry. I'm getting hungry. I can smell suntan lotion. Your favorite suntan lotion that smells like coconut or whatever.
Banana boat.
You know, what is it?
Banana boat.
Yeah, mango. Your favorite suntan lotion. Really picture that. Take that in. Get the feels from it. And then, you know, you can have touch. You can feel the warmth from the sun coming down, you know, on your skin and the water. You can feel it refreshing all over your body. And then the last one would be taste. So you're laying out on the dock, or you're in the back of a boat, and who doesn't have a nice, you know, margarita or a daiquiri or a beer, or even like soda or something, a sweet crushed can of orange soda that's, as soon as you drink it, you can feel that burst of orange in your mouth. All of these things this is how we teach you guys. If you're like, I can't think of a core happy memory. Yes, you can. You just have to add the feels to it and start breaking it out. We try to make it easy on you guys so you don't have to suffer if you're blocked or you're, just at a loss. And
some of these happy memories will come. I mean, in the beginning, I had two, that I could really get into, and that's okay because you only need to stay in them about 20 to 30 seconds to get those hormones going. But I could only do two, and they were pretty long, so I broke them up in snippets. So I took the first half of the vacation, the middle of the vacation, the end of the vacation. I would just review kind of different parts of it. But then as I started doing this work and my subconscious started letting go of other things, I was like, oh, I remember that. Or, oh, that was so much fun. I could actually feel it again. Yes. And it was nice. And I started bubble mapping stuff out. I'm like, okay, I know they're feeling excited. Okay, I know that feeling. I just can't think of a memory right now. Okay, let me sit with it for a minute. When was the first time I know I felt excited? Okay, well, it was when I was a kid and Christmas was here. Write the damn memory down. Yes. It's a happy memory, okay?
And your mind will crave it. I feel like as soon as you start opening up the floodgates, you're going to want more memories. And you're going to start, oh, yeah, I remember that. You're going to be asking people for details. I would ask my friends, oh, gosh, I remember that. Kind of give me more details. So there's ways you can go about getting your core happy memories.
And I think one thing that we can end on is how to set this up, how you should actually have all of this. So, and we can end on that before we make our announcement, but we want to make sure that you have a minimum of at least 2 journals, okay? One is going to be for your happy stuff. So happy memories will only go in that journal, nothing else. You can put happy memories in there. You can put affirmations in there. You can put quotes in there. You can draw little pictures in there. Whatever makes you happy, song lyrics, whatever it may be. It is your little happy journal, okay? You can shove whatever crap you want in there. Kids' pictures, stick it in there, okay? Family photos, stick it in there.
Yep.
Put whatever you want to in your happy journal. I am kind of suspect on this. I don't do it, but I do write all my happy memories out. Now I need to start kind of snipping, little quotes and things that I see. So put that in there, okay? The other journal. This is where we really put our negative memories. Okay, these are the memories we want to flip. Julie and I call it our peace list because that's what we've been taught. So it's memories you need to make peace with. You can call it whatever you want to. Okay, so this is kind of your negative memory journal. These 2 journals will never mix. Okay, they will never be in one spot. You have your negative memories. These are the memories that we want to change. These are the childhood memories that we want to get to flipping. These are the memories that we want to become neutral so they're no longer triggers, okay? So this is kind of your working workbook of list of things that you want to go through. I will be honest with you, when I first started doing mine was probably 15 pages long. It's okay. And I've gone through 2 or 3 books since then, and I'm almost a year out. So it's okay. These are memories that I needed to work on. Now, keep in mind, the reason why we go to the earliest is because that's going to be your frame of reference. Okay, that's where everything shifts for you in a negative light. That's where you build your negative beliefs. That's what affects your outcomes in life. When we hit the very earliest memory that we can, a lot of these other ones will trickle down and they won't trigger you as much. We may still need to go into those and kind of change some of the limiting beliefs and emotions around them, but they're not going to be as severe as they were, okay? So we really want to hit home as much as we can with the earliest ones. So again, you want to get 2 journals, okay? Happy, sad. They never mix.
Yeah. Good way to put it.
Yeah. And you can break it out. You can break your sad journal out to memories of your dad, memories of your mom, so you can keep yourself organized because a lot of them have themes between parents and siblings and spouses and husbands and whatever. You can break it out to whatever you want it to be. I would suggest doing mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad, primary care, people, and writing all of those memories out.
Yes.
And keeping them organized.
Very good point.
Yeah, so they're not all scattered throughout your journal. People that I'm coaching, I try to teach them the same thing. Let's get a running list of all of dad memories. Let's get a running list of all mom memories. So that way we can keep them and we can do little projects. So I guess that's probably where I would end it this week, is kind of a recap, a quick down and dirty, but we just really wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page, where you can find these videos to get caught up, because again, we are starting to get practitioners on and we're going to start moving into the shift work.
And that way you guys will have a rep. That way
that's
you guys,
okay.
the experts and the practitioners that we're bringing on, you have a reference of a practitioner. Now, if you've got some really difficult traumas to flip and work on, you're going to want to work with a practitioner. I'm going to be honest with you. That's going to help you understand the flipping process. Plus, they're the expert. They're going to help you be able to flip it efficiently and effectively. So that's why we're bringing people on, to be able to have a face to say, hey, I want to work with that person. And we have several lined up. So, you know, there's just not one, there's many, and they deal with different types of topics. They handle, you know, some are niche or are more niched, you know, in the whole practitioner world. You know, for example, maybe you have a sleep disorder that you're dealing with, or dealing with sleep in general. It's a real big problem for you. We have practitioners that we're bringing on our live that can help you find the nitty gritty issue or core issue that's connected to your sleep disorder. And so we want to get faces on our, you know, the flip and shift, so that way you can see and you can hear them and they can answer questions for you, and you can decide if that's the person you want to go work with.
And there's a lot of others. I'm finishing up my practitioner check, so I will start taking clients.
Right.
So eventually I will come on and answer questions. Yes. But I'm steadily trying to get through everything. So plus kind of do some other things. And I do have a couple clients I'm working with right now, but you know, I'll be more fully open, if you will, here in the next couple weeks. But
yes.
Breaking it out into sections has really helped me. Yes, it is huge into breaking it out into sections and making sure it's organized. Love that. So are we gonna announce?
Go ahead.
The next one? Okay, so we are excited because the first practitioner, we kind of secured this yesterday. We are so excited to announce, and you'll start seeing marketing stuff from us. As we have Mark Shihadeh coming on. So Mark he is a level 4 practitioner with the UTAPTICS program, which prior to UTAPTICS, it was Faster EFT. Faster EFT didn't have an actual program. It was just kind of Faster EFT, just the tapping itself. It then transitioned to UTAPTICS, so there's a lot of brain processes behind it. So it is now an actual program, which is what I'm going through. Mark is a level 4 practitioner. And Mark also does quite a few different things, but he's going to actually join us 2 weeks in a row. So the first week that he's going to join us is going to be on April 9th, and it's going to be 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would be 9 Pacific, if I remember correctly.
Right.
9 or 10 Pacific.
Correct.
I'll have to double check on that. And Mark is actually going to come on and talk about UTAPTICS and Faster EFT, teach you guys how to tap, okay? Mark is full of life. He's relatable. He also has a Tap It Out podcast, which is what we were talking about earlier. So his podcast is pretty cool. He has a lot of different guest people on there. And he also has the Tap It Out Facebook page. So he has quite a few social media presence platforms that you can look at as well. But we're excited to have Mark on because this is huge. I mean, this is huge for us. And so you get to kind of see Mark one-on-one, ask him questions. Especially about tapping, about Faster EFT, what it did to help him. Again, what Julie and I are teaching and walking through a process of isn't just Faster EFT, but it is a big component, okay? Then second component, we move into the shift work, and we'll talk about that later, but this is we're kind of finishing up the flip work. So again, taking ownership, getting your stuff in alignment, getting your stuff put together, so then you go to a practitioner and say, I have it, I've got it, I know where it's connected, let's work on this, okay? That's where the excitement comes in, okay? That ownership. So Mark is going to come on again and we will have posters on this on the 9th of April. Then the following week, he's going to come back on, and we're switching the time to Thursday for his lives. And then he's going to come back on the 16th. And so he's actually going to come back on the 16th and talk about law of attraction. And how you can get, I know, I love it. And it's the higher principles of law of attraction. And he's going to walk through the principles of it And I think that's huge because those are going to be applicable to you and how you can apply those to your life.
Yes.
And so two totally different topics, but two totally relevant topics.
Very important.
Which are going to be huge,
very
especially, yeah. And that law of attraction, principles of law of attraction is going to filter in well with the shift work for us.
Yes.
Because that's going to be starting what do you want to happen? What do you want to see occur? Again, this fits in with the law of intentions that we put together, law of attraction intentions that we put together.
Yes. Yeah.
You've got those out. How do you make those work for you? What are the principles to that? And then when we shift, we're going to put them to work. What does that look like? How do you create habits for that? How do you change your behaviors? I just really real quick, I want to say, if for those of you guys that are putting together your law of attraction or your intentions, we gave examples of what not to do. All right. We also gave the flip on that, on how to take that what not to do intention and write it the correct way. So you can go back on our IG and our Facebook page from March 7th, and you'll see a series of them, examples. So this is the stuff that he's going to be talking about. Important work, and even diving deeper into it, and he will be able to answer questions that about the law of attraction type work. Yeah, how does it relate to you? So there's going to be banter. We're going to open it up to Q&A. So this is huge for you guys because we're giving you this platform to kind of ask these questions, so you don't have to schedule appointments and you don't have to do those things, because a lot of them require a good 45-minute, 50-minute discovery session of working together. Right. So you can kind of, hear Mark and get his opinion on things and say, hey, I do want to work with Mark. Or, hey, when I get to that point where I'm really interested in, law of attraction principles, maybe Mark is a great practitioner for me. Right. Or maybe I'm just struggling with some business stuff and I want to work with Mark on this. So, there's so many aspects of this, but we're excited because this is just one of the first of many practitioners we will have on. Yeah. And it's huge because we get Mark back to back. So I know. Kind of stole him for that. 2 weeks. This is exciting. So, and really good stuff. I mean, stuff that we're like, that is getting us ready for the shift work. I mean, he talking about the tapping work and how it can be applicable to your life and how does it work? What is tapping? He's going to give you guys the nitty gritty information, and he is higher level. He has worked with the founder of Utaptics very closely. So, he's got a lot of really good stuff to share. And then the following week, the law of attraction work is essential for us to start the shifting process. And that will actually kick off our next topic of conversation, which is how to get into that awareness state of shifting your behaviors. Yeah, exactly. Very good segue. And yes, so we will have practitioners that we're trying to line up practitioners that deal with sensitivities and allergies. Food sensitivity we absolutely do have one. That is a huge one. So we are working with people right now to get that lined up, to talk about that. But again, you're not just hearing it from Julie and I. They did the work right along, side of us. They just may have had different circumstances that led them to that work. But again, it works for everybody. So you'll see that everybody came with kind of a different set of things. Maybe it was. And some of these practitioners have been practicing for what? I can't even tell you. 20 years. Some people. Some of them, yeah, a good 10 years plus. Yeah. So a lot of knowledge there. And years of doing this work with clients. Exactly. So we've got about 5 minutes. I'm sorry we didn't leave it open much for questions, but if you have any questions now, or if you'd like to hear, if you want a specialist or something, a practitioner to come on, what would you want them to talk about? We'd love to get some input back from you guys. What are your issues that you'd like to, what type of practitioner would you want to work with? Yeah, because as right now, we're in the process of lining them up. We're trying to get people that come on specializing working with kids. We have about 6 or 7 as of right now, and some of which that we're working with from outside the United States, so we can hit, people from other countries. So yeah, we've got, and they all have different things that they do. And so we're trying to hit a variety of topics. Yeah. And so our lives will, and again, our lives will be different times just based off of their availability, excuse me, based off of their availability and their time zones. Because we have a practitioner that we're looking at in Australia. And that's, a good 15-hour time difference. So, some of our lives may be a little, off kilter. They won't always be on Fridays just because of that, but we want to still make sure we get the information out to you guys and still have that capability. But you guys will all have advance notice of that. So we're excited. Again, this is just, this just confirms that, what Julie and I are doing and what we have done does work. Again, you're not hearing it just from Julie and I. You're hearing it from other, practitioners that are dealing with clients every day and have been through the process themselves. We don't go through tactics training and not have cleaned up ourselves. So that's one of the big things that Robert really talked about with us is going through the program is we have to really clean up ourselves. And so they've done the dirty work just like we are.
Exactly.
So I think that's about it.
Yay! Good job. We covered a lot, guys. I'm proud of us. Pat on the back, Tiff, pat on the back. Okay, hold on. Specializing in kids would be fantastic. I've been searching but haven't had much luck yet and want to help my kids sooner than later. We have somebody for you. So that is definitely coming up. We're hoping to make an announcement with that one soon. So hang with us. We're still working on details for schedule and everything. So we'll keep you posted and we'll let you know who that practitioner will be. We'll make the announcement on that.
Yeah, and there's several. We're just trying to hit some highlights of ones that, have openings and that have been doing it for quite a while. So we're kind of being meticulous about who we pick.
Yes.
But at the same time, we're trying to make sure that we give you guys what you guys need. So
yes.
Yeah, outside of that, I think we're good.
Yay. Good luck today, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
Have a good week.
And real quick, you guys, so if you want to access this, it will be on IG for another 24 hours. And then we'll upload it to our YouTube channel, our Facebook page and group. And where else?
I think that's about it.
We got it. And then hopefully we're going to be utilizing more platforms like our Twitter account, our LinkedIn. So please, connect with us on other platforms as well. We're trying to get our face out there as much as we can and hit a variety of topics. So please connect with us, you guys. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for next week's live on Friday and at 9 a.m.
Yep.
Right? Yep.
Same time, same place.
We'll be back again next week on Friday, and we'll talk more about next steps. And next week is law of attraction, right? No,
next week is we're just going to review the second half of everything.
Oh, second half. Sorry. Visualizations and everything else. So stick with us for next week because we'll talk about the second half, the second part of the flipping process. Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a great day. Take care.
All right, bye.